Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratang Karunamayam Namami Chinmayan Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram समचरण सरोज समचरण सरोजम सांद्र नीलांबुदाभं जघन निहित पाणिं मंडनं मंडनानां तरुण तुलसी मालां कंधरं कंजनेत्रं सदय धवलहासं विठ्ठलं चिन्तयामि विठ्ठलं चिन्तयामि. OV 275. Opinions will thrive, in which it will be argued that Vedas are all a humbug and not to recognize Vedas and the duties enjoined by them is the main mistake which people will commit. 276. Many will be deceived by wrong notions. Some will be so proud of their knowledge that they will reject all karma, saying that it is simply foolishness. 277. When such situation of disorder will arise, that will be the beginning of Kali Yuga, and people of low level will be kings, and they will simply rob their subjects. 278. People even lower than the Shudras will be powerful kings, and being without the sense of religion, they will corrupt each and every caste. 279. The kings will punish any innocent person, and people will rob citizens by confronting them on roads. 280. When the king, who is the protector of the weaker sections, will start suppressing them and deprive them of their belongings, this will not be tolerated by the Lord. 281. When thus the irreligious elements will harass the religious elements, it will be necessary for Narayana to take the avatar as Kalki. 282. That Kalki will kill all evildoers by a sharp weapon and will uproot the great confusion and chaos. 283. Then religiousness will again grow. Truth will be 4 times powerful. Duties enjoined by the Vedas will begin to be performed properly, and all people will follow their own religion in their daily life.
एवं विधानि कर्माणि जन्मानि च जगत्पतेः ओरिणी भूरि यशसः वर्णितानि महाभुज.
Meaning of the verse. Oh, the bearer of big arms. In this way, I have described many activities and various births of the ruler of the world, who is having tremendous fame. 284. O King, the Lord has numberless names, countless births and incarnations. His activities and adventures are also innumerable. His fame is also very vast. 285. The greatness of the Lord is very vast, and there is no end to his incarnations and adventures. Oh, the great among men, I have told you his avatars in short. 286. The king was very happy and overcome by joy while listening to the life stories of the Lord, and his mind was very peaceful. 287. It is true that at the time of every avatara, God takes a shape, a form, a name, and certain qualities. But in that, he is making manifest the dormant qualities of unmodified and unqualified original nature. 288. Eknath says, those who are servants of God and describe with love his good qualities, and by whose sermons given in this way the minds of the listeners are peaceful, are really blessed people. 289. When the desire to listen in the minds of listeners becomes fulfilled, and the speaker is also happy within himself, there and then the sweet juice of literature becomes a benediction and begins to grow freely in the book of this quality. 290. Just as the beaks of the birds, chakor, open automatically when the rays of the moon shower. Similarly, when the saints give their blessings, Eknath, the servant of Janardana, finds his tongue. 291. Just as the bud of lotus opens up with the rays of the skin, similarly, this book is developing more and more richness by the kind benediction of the saints. 292. It is by their grace, really, that I am trying to give the explanatory meaning of Sri Bhagavat. Now, the audience may please listen to the story which will appear in the 5th chapter. 293. The king will ask a very interesting question, and your mind will be happy to listen to that question also. The eager mind of the seekers will be satisfied, and they will know the decision about what is religion and what is not. 294. In it, the devotion itself will know the skill in the devotion, and by listening to the story containing question and answers, which is very sweet, the hard knot of adharma will be relaxed completely. 295. By the grace of Janardana, Eknath will give commentary by which the ears of the saints will be satisfied. 296. The great Holy Spirit of my Guru Janardana enters into me, Eknath, and it makes me talk continuously. Here ends the Marathi commentary of Saint Eknath on the 4th chapter of the 11th Skandha of Bhagavat Mahapurana, dedicated to Lord Shri Krishna. Chapter 5. Om, salutations to the Lord Shri Ganesha. Om, salutations to the Lord Shri Krishna. 1. Om, I bow to you, my Sadguru. If I say that you are very generous, it seems that you are very miser. Because if somebody comes to your door to request for something, you do not allow him to keep his separate identity. 2. If at all, by chance, the man who requests for something is able to meet you, you hasten to destroy his sense of separate. 3. Those who come to you demanding something are tied into the state of oneness with you, and they are so merged that nobody else can come there and free them from you. 4. You take away all the belongings and possessions of the devotee who has even a small degree of unity with you. You are actually depriving him of everything. 5. If something offered by a cunning robber is taken and eaten by us, it becomes cause of our death. Similarly, if you are pleased with your devotee, you would deprive him of his separate identity. 6. You have made every such devotee denuded, and therefore these devotees begin to roam about in the world as madmen. 7. How can your fame as a generous God spread when your actual attitude is like this? That also is a miracle. 8. You have absorbed into yourself those who praised you to be generous, and when they were one with you, then you give everything to them. Then you gave everything to them. 9. You have given yourself with all your glory to the servants, and you never take back what you have given. 10. As you have given up yourself, you become the servant of your servants, and then you are always fulfilling all their desires and complying with all their whims. 11. For example, the king Bali gave you everything, but in turn you became his obedient servant, and you are still guarding his main door. 12. The king Dharma gave priority to your worship, but you began to serve him, suffered many calamities for him, and even lifted the dishes and plates at the dinner. 13. The king Ambarish was dear to you, and you took upon yourself to be born again and again for his sake. Oh, Hrishikesh, the cowherds thought that they were protecting you, but actually you are their protector. 14. In short, you have the capacity to give them your own reality, but no one else has got that power. 15. You are generous like this, and to you a king and a pauper are same. Whether there is faith, you are sure to be there. Where there is faith, you are sure to be there. 16. In order to see you, many yogis go and live in the caves of mountains. Some becomes ascetics and reject all enjoyments, and some relinquish everything. 17. Some roam about in all directions like vagabonds. Some become mad for you, but all these are not able to have a look at you even in their dream. 18. Even these people can reach you by a simple way. If they take resort at the feet of the saints and love them, you will be easily pleased with them. 19. One who is happy to serve the feet of the saints gains self-realization because the all-pervading Paramatman is becoming manifest in the form and the body and the mind of the saints. 20. That is why the saints are virtually present as gods. Therefore, the seekers should make every effort to earn the grace of saints. 21. They are very fond of knowledge, and therefore I will easily serve them by way of writing of this book. 22. The kind glance of the saints is the ointment of my eyes. When the grace of the saints is arisen, the Lord Janardana becomes manifest. 23. I am using the adjective of Gurutva, calling him my Guru. I am serving the Lord Janardana and having set out for his worship. 24. It is possible to perform worship of Janardana in the whole society of people by experiencing and showing the three aspects of 1. The devotee, 2. The action of devotion, and 3. Object of devotion are united in the consciousness. 25. This is the pure, undivided devotion. In this devotion, there is more and more love in the action of worship, and the affection in the heart of the devotees become more and more one-pointed. 26. For the love of his devotees, the God gives them everything. Such is the sweetness of unity, which is very dear to the Lord Govind. 27th. Therefore, the Lord Sridhara takes the burden of welfare of the devotees on his head, and he himself takes such devotees to the other shore of the sea of worldly life. 28. You may ask, if God maintains and cares for his devotees, is there any other person to take care of non-devotee? 29. I give you reply that because devotees have no ego, God has to take their care, and because the non-devotees are very much proud of their body, they are bound. 30. Thus the man who is without ego and has no pride is the real devotee of God. A man who is proud of his body can never be a devotee of God. 31. As the God is protecting his devotee, he is not troubled at all, and the God thus makes his devotees fearless and gives them abiding bliss. 32. So these who tread the path of devotion without pride are able to trample down the difficulties and surely reach the abode of the God. 33. After this, the king began to ask, if this is the condition of devotees, what is the state of those who are not devotees? 34. In this 5th chapter, the signs of persons who are not devoted to God and their fate are given, and the various ways of worship of God in the various ages are also described. 35. In the 4th chapter, the life stories and the adventures of the God in his various incarnations were explained, and now the king is asking the signs of non-believers.
राजोवाच भगवन्तं हरिं प्रायः न भजन्त्यात्मवित्तमाः तेषामशान्तकामानां का निष्ठा विजितात्मनाम्.
Meaning of the verse, O the foremost among those sages who have realized the Atman, what will be the set of the mind and the fate of those who do not generously adore Lord Srihari and whose desires are not satiated and whose mind and senses are not controlled? 36. The king asked, O the great kind sages, what is the destiny of the person who turns his back on the path of holiness and who is not a devotee? 37. There are people who are blinded by acute passion and desire, hot by anger, miserly by greed, and totally indulgent in their family life. 38. Similarly, there are persons who are statues of pride, the crown jewels of ego, those who are fast-flowing streams of vices and mines of various doubts. 39. Those who are such that their pure intellect is covered by the solid canopy spiritual life and sharp intellectuals in the matter of worldly life, just as owls cannot see in the daylight but can see in the dark only. 41. Those people who do not know what is their real welfare and they sell their knowledge and increase their desires, please tell what is the destiny of such non-believers. 42. I am very lucky to have you among us. You are the oceans of self-knowledge having personal appearance. Please tell me what I have asked for. 43. In this way, the king intentionally asked about the destiny of non-devotees. Chamasa, the sage, happily came forward to give reply to his question.
Chamasa uvacha mukhabahurupadebhyah purushasyaashramaiः sah chatvaro jadnire varnaah gunairvipradayah prithak.
Meaning of the verse, the sage Chamasa said, from the mouth, arms, thighs, and feet of the Lord Purusha were respectively evolved the four varnas or castes. Ashramas are stages in life, and they were separately developed as Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras according to their gunas or qualities of Sattvas, Rajas, and Tamas and their combinations. 44. Chamasa said, the main and the foremost Guru is the creator of the world, the God, and the one who does not worship him should be considered to have lost everything. 45. From the primordial Purusha are formed the four ashramas and the four varnas. O king, I shall tell you the parts of the body of this Purusha from which these are born. 46. Brahmins, knowing Vedas, were born from his mouth. Kshatriyas, the warrior caste, were born from his arms. From his thighs were born the Vaishyas, the merchant caste, and the Shudras were born from his feet. 47. There are only three gunas and the varnas which have come into existence due to these gunas only. So how four varnas came into existence through three gunas? 48. Brahmins were born from Sattva. The kings via Kshatriyas were born by mixture of Sattva and Rajas. The merchant caste was born out of mixture of Rajas and Tamas, while from Tamas the Shudras were born. 49. Among those, the three via Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas are called twice born because by thread ceremony they are given another name and they have the right to the Gayatri mantra and recitation of Vedas. But please know that Shudras are having no initiation of thread ceremony. 50. Among the ashramas, bachelorhood and the family man's role are available to all the three varnas. Brahmins are the backbone, the supporters, and have right to all the four ashramas. 51. Now, at the level of Virata Purusha, Virat Purusha Grihasthas are basically at the feet of the Purusha. Bachelorhood is at his heart. Vanaprastha is at his chest. And Sannyas Ashrama is at the topmost portion, the head of the Purusha.
I think we can pause here for today. And we will read 51 again and then continue on Monday. So we repeat this part because then the topic is little different. Beautiful. Thank you, Sundari. You tell your thoughts, what you felt while reading, what thoughts passed.
First thought is talked about the bhakti, the believers of the God. When we go and surrender ourselves, it is like he takes everything from us, but in reality, he gives everything. He only takes the negatives and gives all the things that is needed for us, everything. So that was a very catchy one. It reminded me of Ananyas Chintayanto Ma Ye Janah Paryupasite. Shanithyabhiktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyam. He's actually carrying out all our burdens and everything, and he's taking care of us. That one I just realized. Of course, for non-believers, has been told as to why the question has come, and was talking about how people are born into different varnas and things. So that's what I said. But I don't know about the message, but it's very clear that non-believers are engrossed in their own pride and because of high ego, and they are using all of their intellect towards earthly pleasures, which they will never get the satisfy. I mean, uh, the grace of Lord. Definitely, they won't get anything out of it. So, is what told. The second point I noted.
Beautiful. Beautiful, Sri Hariji. Such a lovely summary. I loved your correlation to Ananya's Sindhya. Excellent. And this correlation of the gunas, how they manifest into varnas. And actually it is for us also. We are not same attentive throughout. When we are in a very good sattvic state, our memory, our jap, our puja, the actions that we do, or the way we talk, they are different. And many times we go into the tamasic state that we feel so sleepy in a lecture. We feel so lethargic sometimes to do a japa. Or sometimes it's like, the life feels so heavy and boring. We are weighed down. It's our own status. And sometimes we are really very aggressive and finishing one work after another in the house, in the office. We are in that work mode and zip, 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 we are doing. There is a lot of action. Many times we do. So uh, our texture of our mind is not changing. So though we may be born as a Brahmana or Shudra, it is not the family you are born in. It is actually what you are. So if we are born in Brahmana and living in Tamasa, we are called as Shudra. And this part, we will have to tell the world that it is not the caste system what the world thinks. Well, then it is the Varnas are completely different. It is our own mental texture that it reflects. And the way he has given that combination in point 48 of the chapter was very good, I felt. Then one more thing I underlined. Yeah, in that in the same fifth chapter, 30th point also. Who is without ego and has no pride is the real devotee of God. And a man who is proud of his body can never be a devotee of God. Unless that surrender happens, no? So that is meant over here. It's not like devotee, believer, non-believer, like what others would think. It's not there. Somewhere that surrender of ego, where myness, I-ness is lowered, that altar we have to understand. Sometimes when Maharaj uses the language, it might offend many that, oh, in y'all also you have believer and non-believer kind of a thing. No, it is in a different sense that it is here. Nobody is punishing any non-believer or not outcast. He will have a long cut. Means there was a shortcut by becoming God's devotee and becoming on the path. But now he will have to go through all the process. Okay, fulfill your worldly desires, reach whatever fame you have, earn whatever money, enjoy. But eventually, that person will realize that all his money, all his fame is not buying him something inside. Then he will turn. So, the long way short, Bhagwan is telling. But many times, according to our texture of mind, we don't understand what actually Bhagwan is trying to say. So, those were my lovely takeaways from today's reading. I actually enjoyed this. This was too good. Anybody has any other thoughts, please say. No
I think I
thoughts?
also wrote it that what is a devotee? That one was good, and the greatness of the Lord is described in the 284, 285,
Hmm.
and
Fourth
how
chapter.
his benediction is described as sweet juice. or something. Yeah, that that is very good. And then one other thing was, what is it? How to reach Guru Ms. Janardana, how to reach him through saints. That is also nice.
Yes.
And then the starting of the fifth chapter, right? It's slightly in a different figure of speech, like he uses. Like seems like the Lord is taking away everything and even your ego away. So he's like stealing everything. It's a sort of a figure of speech he uses to describe those first few lines.
Hari.
Yeah, that is very nice. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, Sajinji. That was very good. And saints are Bhagwan, so that line is also very good. That how Lord manifests. Everybody has to
Apart from the ego bit, what really hit a note with me was in 290, I think 280 to 90, where he says, when there is a desire to listen in the mind of listeners, it just brought me back to the fact that when we read satsangs also only when that desire is there and how it fructifies, that immense desire to know the Lord and to, to understand and to gain the knowledge has to be there. Otherwise, you will never come. So it just struck me at that time. It was just very.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Let's go for the closing prayers. Over to you, Sri Hari.
Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.
Hari.
Hari Om.
Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Sri Hariji. Beautiful reading. Let's catch up on Monday. Hari Om Vishwaji.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari
Thank
Om.
you, Chandi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sri. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.